Hi guys, it's album review time. We've got Odd Crew and Dark Matters Part 3. So, Odd Crew are a four-piece metal band from Bulgaria. Fast becoming one of my favourite bands over the last few years. Discovered them on Dark Matters Part 1 in 2022. They released Dark Matters Part 2 in 2023. I haven't actually got a confirmed release date of this album yet, but I'm happy to say that I've heard it. I've got to say it more than matches up to the brilliance of Dark Matters Part 1 and Part 2. There will be vinyl and special box set releases as well with this, as well of course as a digital release. They're touring as well, the album, in Bulgaria soon, so and then they're hitting the UK for one-off show in London, which I've got to go. I haven't confirmed yet that I'm going to go, but I really am thinking about doing that London show because I just don't want to miss this band. And parts I spoke about, Parts 1 and Part 2, of course, they were being released on Drakkar Entertainment. This one is actually self-produced. But Drakkar are still promoting Dark Matters Part 1 and Part 2, so they're still part of the band, obviously. This is the 8th Odd Crew release. That doesn't, the 11th if you include 3 releases before they were called Odd Crew, but with the same band members, if you like. And each of these albums has been some of my favourites of the year. You know, Dark Matters Part 1. That's how I discovered Odd Crew, by the way, through Dark Matters Part 1. And 1 and 2 were some of my favourite albums of the year. And this album as well will easily make it into my top albums of the year, which is coming soon, isn't it? It depends what year it's released. I think it's being released this year, be part of this year's favourite albums for me. The quality here, man, is just outstanding. There's crushing riffs. There's beautiful, almost dreamlike sections of music. It's very atmospheric, just like Odd Crew always are. And the feeling that the band give out. There's real feel to the music. The solos, for instance. I mean, I'll get on to the musicians in a minute, but there's so much feeling in their music. It's they're like no other band, really, especially like new sort of metal bands. So when you talk about Odd Crew and their music, it's quite hard. Because they have a real distinct sound. I know it's Odd Crew as soon as I hear a new song. You know, I don't have to know it's them, but my missus knows it's Odd Crew. I play Odd Crew in the car. She says, "Is that Odd Crew?" I say, "Yeah," because there's lots of bands these days that sound like other bands, and you know they interchange. But Odd Crew are literally out there on their own. I mean, they have got some influences for sure. I mean, you could talk about certain songs on this album that got little parts of influence where you could, I don't know, relate to bands like maybe Alice in Chains. There's a few riffs on here that I could relate to maybe classic Pantera, like the groove that the band have got. But like I said, no one actually sounds like Odd Crew, and that's pretty special. So in the band, you've got members that have been with the band for ages, which is good. The band stick together. There's so many bands these days that, you know, musicians in and out, I know you end up with just not the same band. But in this band, that's not the case. You've got Vasko Rakov on the lead vocals. This guy, man, he's got a tone like no other. I absolutely love his vocals, and of course he just doesn't let me down all the way through this album, and that's what makes as well Odd Crew have their distinct sound. The vocals of Vasko Rakov. He's got a brilliant tone to his vocals. I love it. Then you've got Vasil Parvanovsky on the guitar. I think this, out of all the Dark Matters albums, is my favourite guitar-wise. Not just the riffing, but the solos have so much feel in them. You know, it's not often now you get, it's almost paint by numbers solos now, but this, he's got this groove to his solos. He's got this sort of bluesy sort of feel on some of it, but every note is meant. And I love the way he's written guitar solos on this album. You've got Martin Stoyanov on the bass and Boyan Georgiev on the drums. I mean, man, you can tell this band have been together a long time because the rhythm section is just so tight. I love the way they sometimes Boyan Georgiev will just hit a snare drum, and the bass is just so in line and with the riffs of the of Vasil as well. They just seem to be so tight on the rhythm section, and sometimes a song will the melodies of the song will get just leave you sort of drifting in their music if you like at times. But if you concentrate on the rhythm section, that's what keeps it all together, man. Just amazing from those two guys. So I've got to say, this is, comparing it to the other two Dark Matters albums, I think this has got, especially the first 4 to 5 tracks, are something really special and the best opening, I think, across all those albums. And we'll start off with the first track, Blaming Time, which is actually the longest track at 6 minutes and 24 seconds. So after a sort of dense, dark riff, the band come in really heavy with sort of real urgency as well. Production straight away stand out. It's punchy, it's clear. I forgot to mention that this is self-produced as well. Amazing sound to this album. The guitars are so far in the mix. I love the guitars out there, right at the front, but not drowning out anything else, any of the other musicians and any of the other instruments. It's just a perfect balance of production and mix. There's a very cool sort of minor key passage of riffs sort of over the verses as Vasco's unmistakable vocals just come in. And man, it's like, they're back. And a smile came on my face as I was listening to this opening track. I think, man, this is just what I want from Odd Crew. It's a little bit progressive, as Odd Crew are. They're not, I wouldn't call them a prog band, but they've got progressive elements, as this song shows, but so melodic all the time. There's a real sort of uplifting and beautiful dreamlike chorus, and it always hits the right feels as Odd Crew do. Almost has like a slight sort of Deftones feel to me. And as usual, Vasil, not for the first time on this album, provides an emotional and sort of such a well-written solo, an outstanding opening track. And then we move on to New Waters. This was the first single, the lead single, and one of the band's best songs, in my opinion. There's no other band, like I said before, I keep saying it, that sound like them. And this is just classic Odd Crew. This chorus just stuck in my head since I first heard it up to now. That first sort of Alice in Chains influence for me comes with a sort of droney riff in this song, but they give you a glimpse of influence before returning to their signature sound that is Odd Crew. It's such an infectious track, this one, and of course there's such a great solo at the back end of this song as well. And then we move on to Stranger Things. I don't think it's a in ode to the series, but you never know. I don't think it is, listening to the lyrics. But it's the new single, and I did a reaction to this as well. Brilliant song. This track sort of wastes no time. A real cool, crunchy riff with so much groove. It just drives those verses along. Another dreamlike chorus sort of just worms its way into your head. Outstanding songwriting on this. They just get better and better. It's heavy, but absolutely beautiful at the same time, and utterly mesmerizing as well. An excellent start to the album with an outstanding 1-2-3 punch, but even better to come. And talking about that, we got Turning Tables, track 4. I love the way this track opens, man. Almost has a sort of 80s Van Halen feel for me. The actual opening riff, I know that sounds strange for Odd Crew, but it seamlessly sort of sets a groove for the feel of the track. I love the chorus on this one, man, as well as get some sort of held out guitar notes with an amazing bass line that is so technical, just rumbling around there in the background. It just works its way up the fretboard. It's amazing. The song sort of pauses in rhythm, and oh man, another bluesy sort of heartfelt solo, maybe the best solo of the album. What a song. And then I want to talk about another track I love on this album, The Sandman. After maybe the heaviest riff of the album opens this song as like a classic epic doom sort of feel. Then we hit an Alice in Chains again sort of influenced track that sounds like it's pulled from, I don't know, like the Dirt sessions or something, but with that Odd Crew sort of special sauce poured all over the top of it. Amazing song that just pops through the speakers It's crushing and sort of dynamic. Brilliant. It's Odd Crew. And then I want to talk about the last track on the album, Change the World. Outstanding. What a closer, man. The riff that kicks this off sort of reminds me, I've got a little bit of a Pantera Down feel. So fucking heavy. This could be actually my favourite riff on the album. I'm not sure. Vasco sings, I dare you to change the world before there's no world left to change. Quite heartfelt, quite dark. It's really melancholy, the chorus as well, as he sings that, in between the sort of brick wall heaviness of the rest of the track. And I think the guys, finished this song as perfectly placed, because I think it could be the strongest track on the album. There's lots of them across this album. Guys, if you love Odd Crew, if you love the Dark Matters series so far, like I do, you will not be disappointed with this. Whether this will be my favourite of the Dark Matters series, I don't know. It's too early to tell, but I've got to tell you, after 3 to 4 listens, it blew me away. And what I love about Odd Crew as well, the layers come on first listen. Sometimes the choruses don't quite, work all their way, and then with repeated listens, the layers come forward. You peel back the onions of the layer, if you like, and those melodies are just there. And once they get there, they don't let go. Brilliant, brilliant album by Odd Crew. I absolutely love this band. Guys, let me know if you're going to get this album when it comes out in the comments below, and I'll see you soon.